Now, I want to go back to what we were talking about because this is intriguing to me. So we live in a country that we believe there's a weaponizing of government. Let me ask you this. Allie, you're younger. Do you believe that government's out to get you at times?
I mean, me personally, I wouldn't. I
didn't expect you to say that, Reb.
Yeah, no.
You're a little older?
Yeah, and I don't really feel like they're out to get me, but
Okay.
I don't necessarily feel like they would not be out to get me if they didn't have the opportunity.
Who does Lois Lerner work for? Or who did she work for?
IRS.
Okay. Lois Lerner was a very influential bureaucrat with the ability to cause you great harm.
Sure.
You would agree to that.
Mm-hmm.
So was Lois Lerner out to get anybody? Or was just the random mistake of a big bureaucracy out of control?
I think she was out to get
There
me.
are far more people in government out to get other people than you would ever accept as reality, period. Why do we accept, and I wrote down two phrases and you kind of liked them, why do we accept in this interaction we have with our government, why do we accept, as we do, perjury trap and money whip? Those are part of the business language. You know, how many times have we heard Trump better not sit down with Mueller because it could be a perjury trap?
Mm-hmm.
We say that as if that's the way it's supposed to be. You better be careful talking to those FBI agents because they'll set you up. They'll try to get you to mislead or misstate and next thing you know, you're on the hook for perjury. You know, giving false testimony to a government agent, an IRS agent, an FBI agent, a CIA agent. So why do we accept the verbiage perjury trap? Why do we accept money whip? This business guy.
Explain what money whip is.
I mean, the money whip is the business guy gets in trouble with some agency of the government, and he wants to fight because he believes he's on solid ground. He believes the punishment is too punitive for what he's done. Let's say he has a problem with an underground tank in his business, and EPA or DHEC says it contaminates the soil, and they want to charge him $1,000 a day for every day he doesn't clean the mess up. And he goes, that's egregious. I mean, it should be $1,000 a day. I'm trying to get it clean. I don't have the money right now. My business is kind of tight. And they say, oh, no. It's $1,000 a day. Well, to me, that's money whipping. And the reason it's money whipping is because they put an egregious financial penalty to have a certain level of control over the debate. In other words, I'm making a bunch of notes here today. The dangerous arrogance of power is how I've always perceived that. That the average American entrusted with a lot of influence and power normally goofs it up, normally screws it up. So if we got this human component, this human dynamic, this human frailty that we're so aware of, why are we allowing human beings in government to have more and more power and influence over all of our lives? It's counterintuitive. It makes no sense to me. It's something that you're almost believing like, okay, when they put this badge on, when they put this identification card in their pocket, they're public servants.
Well, when you say we're allowing, how can you not? I mean, what can you do?
Well, I mean, it goes back to what I said about the French Revolution, Reb. Never underestimate the will of the people. Never underestimate a motivated and informed mass and how much difference and change they can exert or enact in a country, a political body, a political orbit. The school board issue, the school tax referendum. I believe the one thing we did was raise awareness. I don't think we told people to make your minds up this way. We told you where we were. We told you clearly and emphatically what we believed should happen. But we never said, hey, make sure you go vote between 7 and 8 and call us and make sure we got this many votes out of this precinct. I mean, if we were involved in the election, that's exactly how we would have done it. But we engaged the power of the people. We advocated for more involvement. We advocated for more information. We advocated for more participation. The will of the people still freaks out the government. And to Dale's point, you can't stand on the roof of a car and yell and scream nonsense. That doesn't get you anywhere. I believe we talked about abortion a couple of weeks ago. And I said the reason I believe there's a chance this time to have a serious conversation about Roe v. Wade is not only the technological advancements in healthcare we've made that allow these 4D ultrasounds to show human life at a much earlier place. I believe that our side, the pro-life side, is not going to beat on the side of a car with a baby doll and blood running down it and call people baby killers. That's not effective. That's not good strategy. So I'm not saying the will of the people need to be setting cars on fire in the streets of Washington. You know, you don't need to take your high-powered rifle and shoot the windows out of the Capitol. I mean, I'm not arguing that. I'm talking about an articulate, engaged electorate. The will of the people are still a primary political force that politicians really would rather not have to deal with. And I'm not necessarily talking about the politicians here. I'm talking about the underbelly of Washington. I'm talking about the ones we've become familiar with, the Lisa Pages, the McCabe's, the Strucks, the Brennans, the Comeys, the Clappers. They believe, Rev, trust me on this, they believe they are within their very rights to dictate or help dictate your fate and future because they're of the right pedigree. They went to the right university. They've clerked for the right Supreme Court justice or senator or House member, and they believe they are uniquely equipped and qualified to position this country and the debates we have in the most correct fashion imaginable. They believe that. Now we don't. We find those people vulgar, offensive, out of touch, ill-equipped, failures. They don't. And the reason they don't self-evaluate is they don't ever leave the bubble. Comey talks to Clapper. Clapper talks to Brennan. Brennan talks to McCabe. McCabe talks to Page. Page talks to Chuck Schumer. And amongst that group of fairly smart people having these personal conversations, they convince themselves they've done nothing wrong. When if you go to the diner and sit down with Joe Blow and let him really tell you what he feels without fear of retribution, you realize how lousy you are at what you do. And I think that's the awareness we need to raise. We know the country is horribly run. They don't. And I mean that sincerely. They believe they're doing okay. Now, the debt they'll explain by, hey, man, we made all these promises and we can't take people's health care and retirement and all these other things from them. So there's the disconnect.